Good evening. Normally, we would open up the show with some music and crack a couple jokes. Good evening. Normally, we would open up the show with some music and crack a couple jokes, but we just wanted to say something here real quick. We're in tough times right now during this pandemic, if that's what you want to call it, but pretty much all we want to say is thank you. Thank you to you race fans for joining us. Thank you especially to all you first responders, firefighters, and police departments, because you are truly the front line going into houses, going into people's houses that you don't know. You don't know what illnesses they have. You don't know about, the COVID-19 pandemic that's going on. But we thank you so very much for doing what you do, going and helping people out. So, as tradition here, we raise our glasses to each and every one of you, especially you first responders out on the front line. Here to you. And good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another great episode of PA Sprint Car Live right here on Bear Hill Gang TV. I'm Earl Hoon Jr., Justin Snyder, Burt Wojcik all the way down at the end of the bar, and we got another great episode in store for you on this Tuesday evening. Once again, good evening, everybody, and welcome to PA Sprint Car Live. Boys, we have a great big show that is right now coming up, and get a load of this, and you're doing great with lining these guests up, by the way. Big show. Lance DeWeese will be on here in a couple of minutes, and the kid, Billy Pouch, he'll be on later in the hour. We were just looking through old photos here, and man, what great memories they have. And, I mean, they're still making memories. Pouchy's in a modified. DeWeese still making good memories in a sprint car.
Yeah, it's funny. I told you, I talked to Billy yesterday, and I told him, what we were wanting to do, and he kind of said, "Oh, you're saving you're scraping the bottom of the barrel here now." And I said, "No, we're just saving the good ones for the end here. We haven't hit these, some of these guys yet." So, as much success as we've had the last couple of weeks, bringing some guys out, Brian Paulus and Brian Lepo, and this time his name's Billy, not Brian. But, no, people seem to be enjoying it, and it gives us something to talk about while we're not doing much racing. So we might as well dig these guys out, and let them tell their story.
Working our way down the alphabet here, boys. But no, I mean, you said that you're digging him out. Well, Pouch is not had to be dug out, maybe in the sprint car side of things, but in the modified side of things, tell you what, he's doing some pretty damn good things over there. Last year won the Bridgeport both track championship and the Poker Series title, and I tell you what, he could still wield that number one big block modified. But yeah, it's gonna be really cool to reminisce with him. And then of course we have Lance, who great partner of the show here. Always fun to talk with Lance here, and kind of curious to see how many times you wrecked the iRacing simulator.
We'll get to talk to him as we'll get to that stuff here in a little bit while here. But, folks, once again, thank you so much for tuning in. We understand the pandemic. Everyone's self-quarantined, and really, we're all bored out of our minds. So we're trying to throw some entertainment your way, still keep you in the loop of the racing world when it comes to sprint cars. And once again, thank you for tuning in. Now, something new that we've been going on here at the top of the show real quick before we get into the Weekend Rewind presented by X1 Race Cars. We've been digging out some...
we all like to get shirts, and it's one of my first shirts, honestly. First one that I still have that still exists. It's Frankie Herr. I believe that's a 410. Might have been a 358. I'm not positive, but the Rifes RV is number 2. I take that to the bowling alley every now and then and show it to him, and just to remind him how old he is, but how old I'm getting. But I tell him it's funny. I got a new bowling towel. So no, it's it's cool to bring back some of that stuff. I was digging through. We were going through a bunch of my old stuff here earlier. We love going through the past. Maybe in the comment section, we'll start something here in the next couple of weeks so we can do, before the shows, we'll do like a
show and tell,
a throwback Tuesday. Post your old T-shirts. So we love it. It's awesome. And Frankie's still kicking butt in the super sportsman division out there at BAPS, and yeah,
it still fits him.
It's
maybe
it's a belly shirt.
Yeah,
it is a belly shirt. You say you were going to the gym here the last couple of weeks to working out, so you either have a sweat towel there or you have a workout shirt. But, yeah, great memories there. I remember him winning the show at the Grove one night, 358s, when they were starting to become the regular support division there on Friday nights. Well, folks, we're going to get right into it as we go into the Weekend Rewind presented by X1 Race Cars, and we got nothing. Actually,
what did you do this weekend? Anyone have anything to do this weekend?
Phil and I are working on putting together the old the Beer Hole Gang TV 50. We're gonna race our RC cars here. If Bert ever gets his RC car,
I'll be here next week.
So
stay tuned for that. But however, I will bring this up: the NASCAR race via iRacing on Sunday. I watched it. I'm sure with many other race fans, they watched it. I liked it. Fox, the entire crew there, they adapted. They overcame for a different situation, and I think it was all great success.
I mean, it was a perfect setup right to the end there. Denny Hamlin going against Dale Jr. I mean, how many people at home were sitting there and reminiscing on days of Dale Jr. going for the lead, taking the lead, and getting out off their seats when he took the lead there. But
the only complaint I have about the whole thing is I liked it. I thought it was cool. I mean, I liked how the drivers and the announcers were really like getting into it.
Right.
It just wasn't like, this is dumb. But the only thing I didn't like was just, and it's inevitable when you're playing a video game, too many crashes. They need
Yes.
to lower that sucker, and maybe that'll be good for the sprint car version because it should only be 30, 50 laps or whatever it's going to be. But
How many big ones were there?
I think
There
it was
like 3 or
100
4?
laps, and constantly, you got the cautions But I thought it was funny watching like Clint Boyer there doing this stuff, talking about saving his resets because he knew he was going to get crashed at the end, and guys running out, and you saw some names up front too who aren't exactly known to the NASCAR world too much, and it gave him a little bit of exposure, beating up on these guys who aren't playing video games because you guys got like William Byron who kind of honestly got a career because he was really good at iRacing. So
Ty Majeski too. He's in there one.
Absolutely.
Really
the only
run.
thing I didn't like about it was the whole reset button because I'm more of a realistic guy. When I play video games, I set everything to the max like it's real life. You wreck like the real world. Sorry, your day ended early. That's the only thing I didn't like. I understand it, but all in all, I think it was a great success.
Yeah, I think they could take some of that, what they learned at Homestead, take it over to Texas next week. And really cool that they're going to give Texas a shot coming up this weekend here. And even the World of Outlaws are giving it a shot coming up here tomorrow night.
If I'm not mistaken, didn't the Short Track Super Series did one too?
Yes, they did the Quarantine 50 from the Grove in the late models.
Sure did. So
everybody's getting into it. And it's
with
cool
that
too.
being said, great segue. We'll get into this week's Dirt presented by Williams Grove. After Sunday, the World of Outlaws came out and said, hey, if you liked what you saw there, wait, we're going to get our guys together, and they're going to run an outlaw race, too, with the sprints and the late models.
Yeah, you got a really nice field shaping up here. Of course, you have some guys that do this for a living going in there, but then you also have guys like Paul McMahon. I saw Ron Capps, which I don't know where that makes sense. I mean, I saw he ran a late model at the Prelude a couple years ago, but...
Hey, you know what? But he's practicing.
He was practicing. I'll say that. I saw, and he didn't look
wasn't
bad.
in the feds.
He didn't look bad. No, he didn't look bad. And then you got some local guys like Brett Mahalski, Robbie Kendall, and Lance DeWeese even giving it a go here this weekend. So
yeah, I saw.
I don't know what the hell's going to happen.
Lance, I saw him reaching out to Kevin Swindell trying to get him to how do I do this thing? Hook me up, and somebody got him hooked up, and I saw him post yesterday. He said it's a little harder than people realize to run these things. So. Even an old vet like him, he's having trouble adapting to these simulators. So it's pretty cool, though. I mean, some of these guys have rigs that are like $8,000, I think,
if
plus.
not more.
So it's
crazy.
I mean, Christ.
Well, think about the one that Hamlin ran this weekend. That thing was nuts.
You don't need shoes for it.
No, clearly you do not need shoes to run for iRacing. Good stuff there. Really no change in points since we have not been racing here lately due to the pandemic. So the 2020 Champion Racing Oil Central PA Sprint points presented by HoseHeads.com. Danny Dietrich still on top over Freddie Raymer, Brandon Raymer, Lance Deweese, and Alan Crimes. For the rest of the top 10, make sure you head on over to HoseHeads.com/PA Point Series.
I want to point out some of the drivers here that are actually running tomorrow night. David Gravel, Carson Macedo, Logan Schuart, Aaron Reitzel, Deweese, Paul McMahon, Matt Cosner, who is from Virginia in the super late models, Christopher Bell, Jamie Ball, Austin McCarl, Max McLaughlin, who is a Super Dirt Car.
McLaughlin's son, right?
Yes, I believe so. He's Super Dirt Car regular there. Who else? Randy Hannigan, who Tyler, I believe,
got his butt kicked by him last night on some iRacing.
Yes, I believe so. Is that right?
Yeah, Hannigan destroyed us all last week. It wasn't even close. He was definitely the best car out there. It wasn't even close.
Scotty Thiel, Mike Mahaney, another modified guy, Cale Conley, Ron Capps, Chase Briscoe, who I think we're going to have logistics issues.
Double duty, going from NASCAR to the sprint car.
Yeah, buddy.
Brian Brown, Parker Price Miller, Max Stambaugh, and the North Pole Nightmare Bill Baylog are just some of the standouts.
And I think there's some other guys that are still trying to get in. I saw some people posting, like, how can I get in on this? I wouldn't be surprised to see that list go up, 10, 15 more here before tomorrow.
Regardless, log on dirtvision.com. They give you all the info you need, and you can watch the race. But we're going to turn the camera around to our producer cam presented by Speed Shift TV. We got a face that hasn't been here for a while. Good to see him back. We got T-Money there, and we also got Flying Phil Walter. Boys, are you bored? How you been here in the last couple weeks?
Well, I'm on set, so
Yeah.
that's a
saying
good start
something.
to show you how busy I've been. Car business is really plummeted through this, so hopefully it picks up soon.
Yeah, hopefully. T-Money, always good to see you. You've been broadcasting a lot with your Smoke and Mirrors productions, getting on some laps on iRacing.
Yeah, if anyone wants to check that out, Smoke and Mirrors Media. I'm streaming just about every day, doing some iRacing, doing official races. So we might do some broadcasts with us going forward. So, yeah, excited about that.
And real quick, Speed Shift just had a broadcast for their races they did via iRacing this past weekend as well.
Yeah, we got the Speed Shift TV World Championship races. We have street stock, sprint car, late model, and modified. I'm not sure what the schedule's looking like right now for the next couple of races, but we did 2 races of each one last weekend, and they were all broadcast on the Facebook, YouTube, Twitter pages, and I did terrible on all of them.
Attaboy. Making us proud.
Thanks for representing us. Thank you.
Yeah, I tried.
Oh,
yeah, Phil with Photobomb.
Photobomb, yeah.
I got 3 new videos out. Opening day at the Grove, and then I made a new motivational video for myself. And then I just, Rico Abreu just released his newest one I made for him yesterday, I think. Or 2 days ago. 2 days ago he released it.
Zone. So that is the comment section below.
Our buddy Eric Walsh
Coming up here in a little bit, make sure you put that
Number 49. And
time and coming on the show. This is LZ Hotline is the driver from Fayetteville, PA. Lance Deweese. Lance, thank you for taking some time and coming on the show.
No problem, guys. Enjoy it.
Hey, buddy, let's just jump right into it. News broke a couple days ago that you're going to be doing this whole iRacing thing. A lot of people were watching you practice last night with your, great commentary to go with that practice. And, man, who would ever thought an old-time driver like you jumping into iRacing where everything's computer-based with technology the way it is? What do you think about it so far?
Well, it's a learning curve. Actually, when you called me, I'm on it. I'm over 100 laps already in the last hour or so. Trying to figure out how to go a little quicker. I need to find some speed. Some of the other guys that are on practicing right now, that's part of I'm assuming they're part of the race because they're on that where we can go to practice for just the racers. I need 2 or 3 tenths right now for qualifying. We're being really consistent. My laps are very consistent, but I just don't have that raw speed right now. And actually, I have a really good group of guys that we're on chat. I got like 6 different guys that are trying to help me to figure out how to go a little faster.
Boy, this feels like a post-race interview or something right now. Oh, yeah.
Need a couple tenths here,
Yeah,
a couple
no,
tenths
yeah.
there. I'm a little loose on entry. Man, it's just like you never missed a beat. And he's only sitting behind a computer screen.
Hey, what's neat about this, though, is now my son never done iRacing until just 2 days ago when we hooked it all back up. And he's picked up on it pretty quick. And he came up with a setup today while I was at work. And it's actually not that bad. So I sent it to one of the guys that's helped me with this. And there's a couple other guys that in this whole chat group that's working, that we're all trying to work together and try to come up with a plan. Even some of the other drivers, we're all getting ready here once I get done with this. Danny, Dietrich, Robbie Kendall, and a couple other guys we're going to go race get some racing in, because it's a little different being with other cars on it. It's not the same as, real racing as far as that. So I have to get used to being around other cars.
Folks, if you're just tuning in, joining us on the Moose's LZ Hotline is the driver of the number 69K, Lance Deweese. If you have any questions for Lance, make sure you put them in the fully injected Motorsports fan zone. That is the comment section below.
Now, obviously everybody's in the same boat here, and I'm sure, is it just boredom? Is it the excitement of getting something to do here? What's the appeal of getting into something like this? Because we know the NASCAR deal went off really well, and people seem to be interested in it, but what was the initial draw?
I think it's the competitiveness. We're all competitive. It don't matter if it's racing, golf, or whatever, I'm competitive, you know what I mean? And, yeah, I've always enjoyed video games from the time I was little. Even, I used a lot of that when I first started racing to keep hand-eye coordination sharp. It's actually very good on that. And it's just amazing. This is just a little different. Driving with a steering wheel on computers, you don't have no feel.
Yeah.
You don't have no, seat of the pants feel like we do in the cars. Everything we do is based off our butts,
Right.
how we feel something in the car. So we don't have that. So this is a little harder to know if the car is tight, loose, or whatever.
Now-
But like I said, I have a whole group it's actually a group of racers from Central PA around our area that go to the races that got a hold of me when I put that out there. And last night there was 8 of us on the track trying to work on some things. And I had a little bit of connection issues and I couldn't be there a whole lot. And then we figured that out overnight, and now we're getting ready to do it again here in a little bit.
Now, how much from real life have you taken into the iRacing, like maybe a setup or something that you made try?
Setups really nowhere close. They're a little different in kind of the information I had on the race going of yesterday's different from today. As far as yesterday when we first started, I thought it was going to be what they call a fixed race, where it's the same setup for everybody. You can't change nothing. Well, then we learned this morning that it wasn't. So it's a huge difference now. Like I can run laps almost 2 seconds quicker from a fixed setup to a actual setup working on the cars.
Well, you know, everybody in our fully injected motorsports comment section is saying just call Davey up and get Davey working on that sucker. You'll be all right.
Well, I have some pretty good iRacing guys helping me right now, so we try to get some pretty good guys. And they're great. They're having a blast helping me with the chat there. They're really good. And you know, when I need to take a break, they let my son race with them for a little bit, and they were on him pretty hard about it. So it's actually pretty fun. We're really enjoying it.
Oh, I don't know who did the skin for your car, but you need to get our logo on your car.
That was Hockley.
Don't tell Hockley we want the Beer Hill Gang TV logo on your car.
Yeah,
he has it.
We need that tomorrow there, Lance.
He did really good. And we got the 461 car uploaded too, besides this year's 69K car. He actually has last year's 69K car there too. So yeah, his stuff's really cool looking. Robbie Kendall has the Goofy car.
Yeah.
Done.
That's a good one.
It's I tell you what, that takes some time to do that stuff. Looks like, so he's done a great job on that.
Yeah, Hockley does put a lot of time, and he has more patience than me to really sit behind a computer as long as he does to just put those paint schemes together. Now, real quick, before we end this conversation about iRacing, like Bert, you know, what Bert said with the setups, are you kind of surprised on how realistic the track changes as well? Because iRacing puts a lot of focus on how the track changes, widens out with a cushion and whatnot on the dirt surfaces.
Yeah, it's actually very realistic on that stuff. Like, you know, we're concentrating on Volusia because that's where I have to race tomorrow night. But it's very realistic on how much it changes, you know, from when I was on it 15 minutes, 20 minutes ago with a fresh track to what we'll probably do here with the group of us. They'll make it be a slicker track from the start. So it moves up on the wall and you have to slow down. You know, you have to kind of move around, pass, and get used to racing something slick. And trust me, you can't give it throttle.
Yeah.
It's a lot like that. You know, it's pretty neat because I drove a 305 in one yesterday a little bit with my son, and you know, from it to the 410 is a huge difference even on the iRacing game, just like it would be in real life. So they done a great job on that. The only thing that really don't relate over is setup wise.
Yeah, you really can't jump into a 410 right away. You got to work your way up from a 305 up to the 360 and the 410 to really start getting the feel for it, even if you're just a brand newcomer to iRacing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, you know, we'll go back. You know, we've talked to you because I feel like every race that we've been at, you've been sitting there on the podium. But you know, what a bummer to you know, have the season stalled like that, because you guys came out hot and you seem to be on a nice little roll here to start 2020.
Yeah, we are. We didn't, the first weekend that we ran the practice session at Port Roll, wasn't totally happy with how we were, and the next day we started 14th or whatever it was and ran third, and we weren't great, but we kind of learned some with the track changing. What the track did kind of told us some things, and then the following weekend at Port and the Grove, we were pretty nice, I thought.
Now, Lance, let's talk about family time here a little bit, because, you know, you've done it all to running full time. Now you're just pretty much picking and choosing on what races you want to run. But you know, with everyone being self-quarantined, blah, 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 you know, are you really starting to catch up with the family and, you know, starting to bring back some memories that you guys had and starting to really catch up on some times that you missed with them as well?
Not really, because I've been working. We're not shut down.
Oh, so you're essential.
We thought we were getting shut down yesterday when Maryland, you know, I work for, a lot of people don't know I work for one of my old owners, and we thought we got shut down yesterday when the state of Maryland did the same thing the state of Pennsylvania did. But after checking on it, you know, we're considered an essential company business, so we're in the construction end of it. So we're still working full bore, and then with this iRacing thing that come about, you know, in a short period of time, you know, we're trying to be very competitive. And, you know, I don't think I can win it.
We do.
because I still, well,
We got
I still make a
faces.
lot of mistakes.
So does the
yet.
rest of Pennsylvania, Lance. You don't disappoint us,
Yeah,
buddy. Everybody
exactly.
thinks you can win it.
But yeah, I make a lot of mistakes yet. But I don't know, of all the people that are racing it, I don't know, some of these guys could race iRacing all the time. Some might, there's gonna be guys like me never done it, So it'll be interesting. I want to make it. Right now I think there's 43 entries. I think right now, last I've seen. So I want to make the show and try to get in the show and try to race. And the guys that are helping me out, are really working. They're trying to get me not to worry so much about the qualifying right now and start worrying about racing and getting used to being around cars and work on some race setups because the fuel load changes. The cars a good bit. Air pressure changes a good bit in these cars, so and changes the handling of them. So it's pretty neat.
We know it's realistic, but if it comes down to it, will you take somebody out to win?
Oh heck yes.
So it's coming down. You and David Gravel down the front, or Rachel even. Maybe a little bit of
Anybody.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. I like it. So
You know why?
why is that?
They ain't
Lance?
costing an owner a dime.
Damn right. It's free repair too.
Yeah, we just hit the reset button. It's good to go.
Who the hell would have thought we'd talk about Lance Reese about a damn computer game here? Oh, this is something. Yeah, you can call him a rookie. Exactly, Phil.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's switch back into real life for a second here. Obviously, 2019 starting off a lot, or 2020 starting off a lot better and going a little bit better than what 2020 went. What do you think is a big difference to start the season off than what the way 2019 went for you guys?
Well, actually, we were pretty quick at the beginning of the year last year. If you really think about it, we were really dominant at Port Royal early in the year and all, but we fell off the end of the year, and we kind of discussed that after the year.
Pushing for you guys to succeed. It was like everybody came together in an auditorium practically and was like, let's do this, and it had to be a real cool feeling, especially at this part of your career.
I tell you what was the neatest thing about it was, we spent all week out there at the fairground. I was there almost all day long. Just the fans that came up to the shirt trailer, purchasing shirts, just people thanking us for making the tow out. And just the whole, just not Pennsylvania Posse fans or Pennsylvania fans, fans from all over just thanking us for being there and all that. And it was just so neat. And it was the most relaxed I've ever been at Knoxville, I can tell you that. Just because I was just enjoying it. It wasn't really no pressure. The bad part about the parts that I thought we'd be very good at, we were terrible at. And the part I was worried about the most, we were good at qualifying in the heat race.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my two concerns. Thought we might struggle there, but I thought we could race very good. And we just didn't race good. And, it's just part of the deal. I haven't been out there for, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years it was. And, Donald and Davey haven't been out there for a lot longer than that. And, the downside about Knoxville is you don't get enough track time when you're there to really figure anything out, and we just never caught up to it. But they worked their butts off like they do every race. And, I appreciate all their hard work. And, at the end of the day, we had fun, met some good people, met some nice people. We have some sponsors from out there now, on our cars in here now. So, just race fans, and it's just neat. It was just a great week. I really enjoyed it a lot, and it was really fun.
And you guys made bank off of porch sitter T-shirts. So you guys.
Well, it was just funny. People. Kyle Larson kind of got that ball rolling a little bit, and then we just said, okay, might as well play it and go with it. And me and him had some fun with it, and it just was great. But I mean, the whole deal out there, everybody, the officials thanking us for coming out, just everything. It was just a great atmosphere, and everything that Kendra Jacobs did with the porch at the I can't remember the name of the place that we did the interviews at, and all they had a porch with rocking chairs on for me and Dietrich and anybody else from the PA Posse to go. We did interviews there downtown Knoxville. It was just a neat deal. The whole week was fun, and I really had a blast.
Now let's get right here into 2020. It seems like, or is it me, Lance? It just seems like there's a lot more electric around these races here. Yes, it's the beginning of the season. I understand that. And a lot of the tracks here in Central PA had fair weather to open up. But with social media and how hot that's getting, does it just seem like there's a lot more electric when you get to the racetrack this year, especially here in Central PA than in years past?
Reasons for that, one thing is, except for now, was the economy was rolling along pretty darn good. And, people had good winners. The economy's been rolling good for a couple years now. And, just starts picking everything back up and gets everything moving. I mean, the weather plays a big factor in these races at the beginning of the year. Port Royal's crowd on opening day was just unbelievable. But I actually was more impressed with the crowd we have the following week with the coronavirus.
Right.
The weather wasn't quite as nice, and the people still come out and supported us. And it was it's just a blessing to have. The Grove had a really good crowd. All the tracks have had good crowds, so that I know of. So it's it's great. It's a shame it's kind of got put on hold for a little bit, but we'll get through it. We always have. This country's a very strong country, and we might get hammered by some other countries and people that look down to us a little bit, but there's no better country in the world than the United States, and we'll come out of this stronger than ever, guaranteed.
Well said, Lance.
Now
Luis,
it sounds
well said.
like I'm running for a politics.
Yeah, I was going to say, you want us to vote for you coming up here in the primary, but
My wife's shaking her head.
I feel like
Well, maybe I will when I retire. Maybe I'll try to run again. My wife said, no way.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think politics might be the only thing that can get people to boo and yell louder than race fans.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Mark it now, folks. DeWeese 2020. Anyway.
Campaign run announced tonight.
Lance, real quick. Go ahead, Phil. You have a question for DeWeese here.
Now, Lance, here a couple weeks ago, you made a young fan's dream come true. And I was wondering if you regretted it at all when you and Danny Dietrich became Facebookly official friends.
Nah, we've always been friends and all. We've had our times at times. There for a while, he kind of was a little, I don't know how to put it. He was on Twitter hammering race
Pain
teams
in the
and
ass.
stuff. Kind of got a little out of hand probably at times he did, and got on people's wrong sides. But he's always had a good heart, and he's really. Probably since he got married and just, kind of getting older, like all of us do, we kind of settled down and changed our thoughts a little bit. And, we still can get at each other a little bit and poke fun at each other. But now when we do Twitter stuff now, it's actually, we do it for the fun of it now.
Yeah.
We just kind of, most of the time we each know ahead of time before somebody's putting something on sometimes.
And now he's on your crew for iRacing. He's
Boy.
Well, no, he's racing, but they say he's no good. I haven't raced against him yet. This will be the first I've been with him, but they say he's terrible at it. He even says he's terrible at it.
He is terrible.
But it's not easy. It's a lot harder than what people think.
Well, Lance, real quick before we let you go, Chris Hockley actually just put a comment here in the Fully Injected Motorsports fan zone. He said your car is updated with the Beer Hill Gang TV logo on it. So just so you know, buddy, no pressure.
Yeah,
no pressure at all, buddy.
Hey, now how quick's that? Now, is that service what?
That is service.
Yeah,
Hockley comes through again.
Now, it only took us 3 hours to figure out how to get the thing downloaded before, so now we'll be lucky we can get it uploaded again to get it back on the car.
Oh, that's true.
Now, one last question I have for you here is, obviously we don't know when we're going back racing, and I know you guys have a pretty, hopefully it's here in the next couple weeks, that's the plan, and we don't know what everyone's saying, but we don't know what's going to happen. You guys have a pretty set schedule laid out here for the rest of the season. Let's say this starts getting into things and some of those dates get cut off and you guys got to pull back. Are you guys going to expand the schedule a little bit, or is it just kind of what you got?
I have no idea, because you have to remember he has a daughter that races, and I don't want to cut into her schedule any. But from day one when I took this deal and started driving for him, I told him, you want to go racing, we go race. If you don't want to go race, you tell me, we don't go race. It don't, I ain't gonna be mad either way. I know the situation. So just like we weren't supposed to race as early as we have this year.
Yeah.
But some of it was we wanted to do a little testing. Then once all this other stuff started happening, he figured, okay, why don't we race until we can't race? Or see what happens.
Well,
So that's another reason why we probably made a second weekend trip this early in the year. But I don't know. We'll once we get back racing, see what happens, because you really don't know what's going to happen with schedules of stuff. Let's assume and just assume that I have no idea. Let's say this thing goes into the end of May, and we're not racing. Me personally don't think it's going to go that long, but that's just my personal opinion. But if it does, is the All Stars or the Outlaws going to try to start making up some of these shows? And we're a big part of that in here.
Right.
So you just never know what's going to happen. How schedules get rearranged. I'm sure. I know the racetracks, they need to race.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And hopefully shutting the state down, Maryland getting shut down, New York shutting themselves down. I think one of the problems for us is we're so close to New York and how large the spread is in New York City, especially. We're going to get it, and it's going to spread some. And, hopefully we take these 2 weeks or whatever it's going to be. And, once they kind of reach that peak that they're looking for and it starts going down the downside, we can start getting back to some normalcy.
Right.
Well,
Agreed.
and God forbid you can't race. Apparently, the only safe thing to do in the country right now is golf. I saw you're allowed to do that.
I can't even golf yet. They shut down the golf course last week,
No,
I thought.
in Pennsylvania you can't golf.
I'm going to
Come on.
say, I tried to get out.
In Maryland now you can't golf either. But I think Virginia's open yet. We're checking on that.
Yeah,
I was gonna say you better. If anyone would know, it'd be Lance Deweese.
Lance, thank you for taking
Golf and iRacing now, guys.
Hey, buddy. Hey, Lance, seriously, thank you for taking time out of your schedule here on your iRacing schedule and coming here on the show. Once again, my man, thank you so much.
Well, thanks a lot, guys. I enjoyed it. Fans out there, just stay patient. We'll get back racing soon enough. And, tune in tomorrow night. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but it should be fun to watch, just like the NASCAR deal.
Well, we want to see that
it's
logo
not
in the
real,
feature.
but it was fun to watch. I really enjoyed watching the NASCAR deal. And, hopefully, us Pennsylvania guys can put a good showing out there tomorrow night against these other guys, and who knows.
Lance, in the words of Calvin Knapp, don't suck.
Lance,
I'm sure Calvin will be tuned in.
I'm sure he will be.
Lance, once again, thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Lance DeWeese getting off the Moose's LZ hotline. Hey, he's having a good time. Looks like he's really getting this iRacing thing getting going here for tomorrow night.
I can't believe we're talking about Lance Deweese talking about iRacing. I mean, that's wild, man.
I think it's just the way of the world nowadays. We talk about it a lot, and I mean, honestly, I was really, my eyes opened at a racing extravaganza when they had that live race, and I'm watching some of these guys out there, and some of these dudes probably spend more time and money on their simulators and their iRacing careers they do in their race cars, and it is nuts to me just how. Honestly, I got behind the wheel of one for about 5 minutes, and I didn't make 3 laps before I was in the fence. So I'm never going to talk too much crap about a sprint car driver because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Kel Thomas was trying to show me what to do on that sucker, and I just could not figure it out. And I was like, man, I need more experience with this thing. So
It's definitely not easy. It does take some experience to, kind of learn the different cars and that. Like, the 410s, actually, they're not as hard to drive as what, say, a late model is on there. A late model is so difficult, especially around the Grove. The Grove's a tough place to get around in general, but even in simulation, you go to a late model there, it is so hard to do that.
iRacing lessons by Burt Wojcik.
Don't listen to me, folks. You will lose.
Folks, you're in the Fully Injected Motorsports Fan Zone. Let's give Lance Deweese a big old thumbs up for coming on the show, but we're going to go into a commercial break, and when we come back, Billy Pouch will join us.
That was wild.
Good evening, race fans. Derek Snyder here from Pace Performance. Pace Performance is your complete source for all of your automotive needs. The nation's leading retailer of Chevy performance parts is also home to thousands of aftermarket performance parts, regardless of your vehicle's manufacturer. Visit paceperformance.com to shop 24/7 and see the largest selection at one convenient location. And thank you for tuning in to Beer Hill Gang TV.
What's up, Posse fans? This is AJ Flick, driver of the number 2 Ferguson Heating and Air Conditioning Red Robin Fence by Maintenance Service number 2 410 Sprint Car, and you're watching PA Sprint Car live on Beer Hill Gang TV. Enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is Jack Christner, the voice of Speed Shift TV, with your friendly reminder that Speed Shift TV is the home of live racing pay-per-views for Central PA. We cover almost every show at both the fabulous Lincoln Speedway and the Speed Palace, Port Royal Speedway on Saturday nights, all for just $40 per month with the Speed Shift VIP package. So whether you're on the go or stuck at home, you don't have to miss a single minute of the action taking place at your favorite tracks. I should also add, not only do we cover Central PA for $40 a month, we also have complete coverage of the King of the West Sprint Cars, the Sprint Car Challenge Tour, along with USCS Sprints and countless other tracks and divisions from across North America, New Zealand, and Australia all year long. Over 500 nights of racing, all for just $40 a month or $300 for the year. To sign up for the Speed Shift VIP package, head on over to SpeedShiftTV.com today, and thanks for tuning in to the PA Sprint Car Live on Beer Hill Gang TV.
This is Blake Anderson, voice of the Ollie's Bargain Outlet All-Star Circuit of Champions presented by Mobile One, and you're watching PA Sprint Car Live on Beer Hill Gang TV.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to PA Sprint Car Live right here on Beer Hill Gang TV. Join us now on the Moose's LZ Hotline, a legend in both aspects of dirt racing throughout the Northeast here, the kid, Billy Pouch. Billy, thanks for joining us tonight, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hey, so how you holding up throughout all this here? I know Jersey, that's a hotbed right now. How you holding up through all this this pandemic going on right now?
When you got a garage full of race cars to work on, you got plenty to do, keep you occupied. It really hasn't affected me that much other than I'm not racing, just more time getting ready.
Well, you know, a lot of us here, we remember you from the sprint car days, but obviously you have not shied away from racing any time here lately. You know, what's your schedule look like this year? I mean, obviously we don't know when we're going to go back racing, but you seem to have quite a bit of modified shows there on your plate.
Yeah, we got a lot of modified tracks close to home here, and I've been running Bridgeport for the last 3 years, and we switched from there 3 years ago, started running Bridgeport, and this year they redid the whole track. They tore the old track out, and you wouldn't even know there was a big old track there, and built I'd say it's about a 4/10 high bank, like the Talladega track there. It's banked up pretty high, and it's all new. Doug Rose has been working on it all winter here. And I've been down there a couple, 2-3 times just checking it out, and he's getting it together pretty good, and we're kind of looking forward to something different at Bridgeport and running there this year.
Now, how do you think that track is going to race? Because we were asking Danny Dietrich about it here a couple weeks ago, and he said it's banked a little too much to where you won't be able to get all the way up to the wall. You'll probably only go halfway up. How do you think it's going to race, especially in a big block modified?
Well, it looks top dominant to me because it's progressive banking. And, it's kind of banked up, and then when you get about 3/4 way up, it kicks up hard. So, I mean, that's probably where the fastest crew's going to be. It's sort of like an Eldora deal, where you run up against the wall. That's my opinion. I haven't been on it to take any laps or even drive around. I just walked around and kind of looked at it, but it kind of looks like it's going to be top dominant.
Now, a question I would have for you now is we'll go back to your sprint car days here a little bit, and I see Logan Wagner just jumped in here. Obviously everyone pretty much knows you as the guy that drove the Zemco car and the fastest lap in a sprint car at Syracuse, and you had a ton of success there for a while. And obviously it's got to be pretty cool. The Zemco car has been such a popular and famed race car, and Logan's doing a pretty good job these days. Making sure that legacy continues well on into the future.
Yeah, I met Logan there. I'm still friends with John and Pee Wee and Tommy, Carl, and the crew and stuff, and got to meet Logan going up there. And every chance we get, we try to get out of here and go up to the port or the Grove and see some of the old people we raced with and stuff. And watch Logan race. He does a real good job, and won the championship the last 2 years there. It's pretty impressive. They get a good feel of cars at Port Royal, and it's definitely a first-class operation. And it's good to see John and Pee Wee still at it as owners in sprint car racing, and they've been at it a long time, and they were good to me. Up till my latest owner, John, held the record for putting up with me the longest, but yeah. Kevin broke that record now.
With over 700 feature wins in both the modified and the sprint cars, You have a pretty good record that people still talk about, especially up in Syracuse at the Moody Mile. You know, you set the one-lap track record in a 410 sprint cars at just over 144 mile an hour. As a driver, do you really feel that kind of speed up there on that big, fast mile track? And could you really believe that you set that record that day?
Not really. I mean, you feel like you're whistling around there pretty good, but you know, we had Davey Brown back then doing the motors and setting the cars up and stuff, and you know Davey Brown, he's a legend. You know, I mean, he's still good. Him and Deweese and Kreitz, it's unbelievable how good they are to this day for their age and stuff, what they're doing. But Davey gave me a hell of a motor back then, and had the car set up good, and all I had to do was hold it to the floor and steer it around there. I mean, it sounds pretty easy, really, and it ain't really bad until you get going the wrong way, and you get going the wrong way going that fast, it gets pretty hairy. But you know, other than that, you're locked down, you're going pretty good. It's controllable.
Now, Billy, you raced all over the country in both the 410s and in the modifieds here, but I want to ask you about a couple tracks that are no longer around here, either the Flemington Speedway and Penn Nationals. I look right here. Justin brought a Lebanon Valley 100 program from 1988 here, and my question is, out of Flemington and Penn National or any other track that may not be around anymore, what track do you wish could still be around that you might be love to race at these days?
I'd have to say Flemington. I grew up and went to high school in Flemington, and the Speedway was right behind the high school. And you know, I remember being in school and activity period and skipping out and going over to the track and jumping the fence to go over to get my license for the racing season. And I miss Flemington. All my friends, you know, were from that area and stuff. And I'd have to say, you know, Flemington I probably missed the most. I mean, I really enjoyed Penn National too. That was a first class facility, racy, top and bottom and stuff. And you know, we had a lot of good times at Penn National too.
Now, a question I'd probably have for you is, I think probably a lot of other people would have as well, is, you know, obviously you had so much success in the sprint car there, you know. Is there a reason why you jumped back to the modifieds there pretty much, you know, predominantly? I mean, was it just that's what you wanted to do? You could race closer to home? Was there any particular reason?
Well, in the early 90s when I started driving for John and Pee Wee there, there wasn't, you know, at the time there wasn't a lot of good rides around, and Flemington paved, and that kind of, you know, I did that for a year or so, and kind of, it just really wasn't my cup of tea. We won races on the pavement. We won one of the biggest races they had there, to race champions, and that was pretty cool, 250 lapper. But it just ain't the same as dirt. You know, when you're brought up on dirt, it's just so much more exciting and fun. And I just got out of it and had the opportunity to go drive sprint cars. It was something new. I kind of dominated there for a few years with the modified, and let me try something different. And I went and started driving sprint cars in central Pennsylvania, and wow, that was a humbling experience. Let me tell you, you know, to get your ass kicked and handed to you every week. But we hung in there and you know, learned the ropes and got things together and started winning races and did pretty good. And I did that for, I guess, about 6 years. And I don't know. We started the 99 season in Florida and had good luck down there. I think I won an all-star race at Volusia, won at East Bay, and come back, and we had a few issues with the car, and, you know, I was teammates with Kevin Gobrecht then, and then Kevin, when he was moving on to Blaney's car or whatever to drive that, and I don't know, New Egypt started up, and I was running there Saturday nights, on the Grove Friday nights, and I don't know, just something clicked in me, and, you know, I was hurt 2-3 times in a sprint car, busted my knee, busted my arm, and I figured, well, maybe it's time to jump out of them. I didn't know it was too early in my career, or I was getting too old for them, but I just decided to get out and not run them full time, and you know, I don't know, you know, I miss them, I really miss them, but then again, I miss being 18 and living at home,
Folks, we have Billy Pouch in the Moose's LZ hotline. If you have any questions for the kid, make sure you put them in the comment section below. That is the Fully Injected Motorsports Fan Zone. Now, Billy, back to the 99 season. That was a huge season for the Zemco racing team. Like you said, you started out in Florida. Then you have a kid named Kevin Gobrecht. He's coming on the scene. He's running the 11 car. He's your teammate. How was it running with Kevin? Because, we all know the tragedy that happened. But could you really help him along when he came with you as a teammate in the sprints?
Well, there's one thing you didn't tell Kevin. That was you need to drive harder because, man, he drove hard. He was one of the hardest driving sprint car drivers I think I've ever seen. It was like I tried to calm him down a little bit, that maybe you're driving a little too hard. But, Kevin was a very good talent. It's a shame he got cut short in life. He probably would have won a lot of races, and just, I don't know, that was sort of part of it. And nothing against Kevin. I mean, just when we raced together. It was, we worked together the best we could, but it's just hard running two cars out of one team. It's like two roosters in the same hen house. It doesn't usually work well.
Now, we were just talking here, and I actually had this conversation, I think, yesterday on Facebook. Somebody posted one of your pictures of your car, and one of the memories I remember of you is at the end of your sprint car career there a bit, you jumped in an Al Hamilton car on a one-off night there for an injured Greg Hodnett, and I remember seeing that and going, what the hell? I didn't know he was even racing sprint cars. And then you went out and won the damn race. What was that like, running for Al Hamilton there, for a one-off deal and putting it in victory lane?
Bob Miller called me up, and I've always had a lot of success at Grandview with modifieds and sprint cars, and I think I still hold the record there for the most sprint car wins and stuff. And I always enjoyed running there. And Bob called me up and said, "Hey, would you be interested in coming over and driving a sprint car for the show next Tuesday or Wednesday or whenever it was?" And I said, "Yeah, sure. What car are you talking about?" He goes, Al Hamilton's car. I said, hell yeah. I'd love to drive for Al Hamilton, And I went up there, I got there early, set in the car, set the belt, made steering and all that. And I'm looking, and I asked the crew chief, Timmy, I said, where's the gauges? He goes, we don't run gauges. You'll smell it or feel it. I'm like, huh? I never seen nothing like that. And, you'll smell it or feel it. It's like, okay. And then Al got there, and I went over and spoke with him, and he put his arm on my shoulder, and he goes, son, this ain't no box of eggs. Don't worry about breaking it, and it's like, whoa, I never got that kind of comment from a car owner before either, So I pretty much figured out, I'm in one of the best cars in central Pennsylvania, and went out, and man, they had a hell of a setup on it. I think we warmed up, and I haven't been in a sprint car in a while. Our warm-up was our time dash or something, or time trial, and I ended up 8th or something, and I think that's where I started in the feature 8th. And, sometimes that's a little far back with a sprint car, but, man, that thing was a rocket ship that night. And we just drove it to the front and passed some pretty good cars coming there and won the race,
Now, we'll stick with the winning theme here. Billy, if you could give me 2 wins that really stick out in your mind, one being in sprints, one being in the mods, that you always come back to, that really sticks in your mind, if you could give me 2 wins.
I'd always have to say in the early 90s there, like I told you, when Flemington was pavement, it was the same thing. I was at home. I didn't have a ride for Middletown. There was their big modified dirt race there at Eastern States, and Flemington was running the Race of Champions, and I didn't have a ride for that either. And I think they called me on a Friday morning from the track and said, hey, would you be interested in driving a car? I'm like, sure. What car's that? And they go, Mario Flori. I said, hell yeah. And I know that's a good asphalt car, So same thing. I went up there as a pitch hitter for modified, their asphalt modified. And, it went out and I think I crashed in a heat race. We brought the car back to my shop, straightened it out, went back, won the Consi, started 43rd, and we drove up, and I think with 5 to go, I was 5th, and ended up winning the race. It was pretty impressive. I'd have to say out of the modified,